Hello, I'm the Boonslayer, and welcome to my first WWE pay-per-view review. I previously have done rewrites of WWE storylines that could use improvement. I normally do those like significantly after the storyline has ended and when there's more information about what the original intent was and, why they made decisions that they did. Because it's easier to come to a better solution when you know what the original writers had to work with. And in terms of like doing the pay-per-view reviews, I actually conducted a poll on my Twitter to see if people were interested in seeing it, and people said either yes or do one and we'll see what we think of it. And if you happen to like this one, then feel free to leave a like down below and share it with your friends so they can also like it. And if you have any suggestions for anything I could do in the future for the format of this particular series, leave it in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. And let me know what your thoughts on the show was as well, because I'm always willing to hear what other people have to say. That being said, let's get started with the first match. That was way too professional. I apologize. No, I don't. Right, so the first match on the card is Shinsuke Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, the fact that we're getting Shinsuke Nakamura's first WWE SmackDown Live match, like first non-NXT match, basically. The fact that we're getting his first match on this show, that was heavily advertised, so it seems very surprising that they would put it on first. However, there's a couple of reasons why this makes sense. One of them is WWE tends to like to space out their higher profile matches. They put one in the beginning of the show, they put one at the end of the show, and they normally put the third high profile match somewhere in the middle, somewhere on the sliding scale of being in between those two. Normally not like directly after one of the other high profile matches though. So that's kind of what this is. This is sort of the opening high profile match, as it were. The first high profile match. That doesn't mean it's lesser than some of the other matches on here. Just means that's the spot they put it. This is also a very technical match, and that's something that normally does a good job of getting people eased in to what's going on and getting them well adjusted and invested in the product. Now, that being said, there is another reason why it makes sense to put this on first, and that's because the result of this match is incredibly predictable. Like I said, they heavily advertised Shinsuke Nakamura's first match. Like, most of the promotion had Dolph Ziggler just kind of taunting Shinsuke Nakamura for it being his debut. Like, if Dolph Ziggler won this match, there would be riots in the streets. It would be the worst decision possible. There's no way they would ever make that decision. And Shinsuke Nakamura did win. And it was still a great match, even with knowing the results ahead of time. Because, like I said, of course, Nakamura wins. But it was a really good match. Very technical. Lots of good chain wrestling. There were a couple things that Dolph Ziggler did that I did not like, though. One of those things was, like, Shinsuke Nakamura had, like, Dolph lifted up. I think he was, like, going for a vertical suplex, and Dolph had stalled and stopped it, and then like Dolph like lands on his feet. It's like, oh, okay, he's gonna go for something in response because that's what you do. What he basically does is he jumps up for like an elevated DDT, putting himself in the exact same position that he was just in. It looks so stupid when I saw it, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I feel like he was originally supposed to go straight into that DDT, but he fucked it up, and then just jumped up back into it to try to save face. And it's fine. That kind of stuff happens. The other thing that he did that I really didn't like early in the match, there were a bunch of points where, like, Dolph Ziggler was kind of playing to the crowd, and it's like, yeah, it was a little bit hokey. Considering the fact that other points in the match, they were doing, like, this like super realistic MMA stuff, and it's like those things don't seem to mix. But It's fine, except here because like this is when like they're sort of swinging the momentum back towards Nakamura, and Nakamura had just countered Ziggler into like this feint kick where he like goes for a roundhouse kick, Ziggler ducks, and Nakamura comes back around with another roundhouse kick. You know, guys like Shelton Benjamin, Rob Van Dam have done stuff like that, and Shinsuke's doing it here as well. And both of them are down. Ziggler gets up first with the help of the ropes, and he just goes, "Yeah!" Like I'm like, are you like celebrating the fact that you got to your feet? It was just so stupid. But it was. But despite those couple of things, it was still a really good match. I really enjoyed it. All right, on to the second match. This is the tag team title match between the Usos, who are brothers and Samoan. That's their gimmick. And their opponents, Breezango, whose gimmick is that they are the fashion police. Yep. To be fair, that really sounds like it's a really stupid gimmick, and it is. But they've been doing these vignettes called the Fashion Files, which are sort of this parody of Law and Order and other police procedurals, and it's really good. It's really funny, and I recommend you go on YouTube and watch the Fashion Files clips. WWE uploads this as part of sort of uploading clips from the weekly television, and you know those clips are on there, so you can watch them. And if you watch them, then WWE will probably note that and do more good stuff like that. If you watch it, I recommend you watch it. They had a clip at this pay-per-view, and the structure of this match was sort of Tyler Breeze is like sort of the main comedy act, as it were, in this comedy team of Tyler Breeze and Fandango. That's why they're called Breezango, because it's a combination of their names. Anyway, so Tyler Breeze is the main comedy act, and what he was doing during this was he came out in a janitor disguise that was from like the vignette. He was in that janitor disguise, and he's like, "I'm undercover," and he was undercover as like a janitor, and he's like mopping the ring. And while the Usos are coming out, like basically Fandango starts in the match, right, and then he tags Tyler Breeze, and Tyler Breeze does some stuff, and he like ends up using the mop, using like the head of the mop to sort of wipe the Usos' face, and it's like, get off me. And it's like, why was he not disqualified for that? Like, I couldn't help but notice, like, why was he not disqualified for that? But you know, the rest of it was so good. I'm glad that they didn't disqualify him. Like, it's fine. It kind of broke my suspension of disbelief a little bit, unfortunately, at that point. But there's a point where like he like gets knocked off the apron when he's tagged back out, and he comes back up disguised as a grandma, as an old lady, and he gets tagged in, and he like hobbles around with a walking stick, and the Usos like laugh at him and like kick away the walking stick and stuff, and like and do stuff like that, and then he kicks them in the face. Yeah, he starts like doing like normal wrestling moves. Like he even does some that are funny because it's like it's an old lady doing it, and that's the joke. Like one of them is like he does a Bronco Buster, and he like lifts the dress up real quick to sort of to distract one of them. That was a bit hokey. That shouldn't have worked. The other funny spot he did, the Usos do end up winning the match, but the other funny spot that Tyler Breeze did was something that's a reference to an independent wrestler, where basically he set up the independent wrestler is Will Ospreay. He does this move called the Cheeky Nando's kick, where he like tucks the opponent's head like towards the turnbuckle, with him like on top of with like the dude like being on top of the turnbuckle, and he like tucks the dude's head like towards the turnbuckle, and then he does a super kick to his head that's near the turnbuckle. Like it looks both hilarious and awesome at the same time. Really weird, but whatever. Tyler Breeze kind of sets up one of the Usos for that. The other Uso is coming towards him with a super kick. Tyler Breeze moves out of the way, and he makes the one Uso kick the other Uso with a Cheeky Nando's kick. And it's like, I found it. I will admit it's referential humor. So if you don't really, or if you're not familiar with somebody like Will Ospreay, you're not really gonna get the joke. But I found it funny anyway, and it was also like sort of this good spot. Um, even beyond that. So, like I said, the Usos end up winning and retaining their tag team titles, but it was still a very fun match, if kind of stupid at points. Okay, next match is Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. This match wasn't really anything special about this match. It was just a run the mill type of thing. I think the most notable thing to point out about this match is like I really like both Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin. They're both great. It just seems like, and it's not that they have like terrible chemistry with each other, because like I said, there was nothing notable about this match. That goes towards the bad as well as the good. There was really nothing notable about the match in either direction. So it's not like they have like terrible chemistry, because if they had terrible chemistry, I'd point that out. But they don't seem to have the type of chemistry working together that you need in order to put on a great match. Like they can put on something that's respectable, that is watchable. But in terms of like putting on a good match, a really good match, just seems like they just don't click as well as they should. It's a shame, but that's just how it is. Okay, I'm probably going to fly through this next match too. This is the 6-woman tag match, and this is one of those matches that SmackDown Live is doing where they kind of throw all of their women into one match. And I feel like they over-rely on that. Like Raw does it sometimes too, but I feel like SmackDown does it a lot more. So it's really noticeable. And whenever they do these matches, I always feel the same way at the end of the matches. It was fine. Everybody got their stuff in. Like, that's always how I feel. I feel like it was a fine match. Everybody got their stuff in. But that, like, nothing really more than that. This one was, on one side, you had Naomi, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair. And the announcers said that team calls themselves Royal Glow and Fire. That's terrible. That's a terrible name. You're just taking, like, the 3 nicknames and like putting them in sequence. That's awful. The other team is the team of Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. I call them the A-team, but what they're actually called is the Welcoming Committee, which is not quite as stupid, but still kind of stupid. Their whole thing is that they're trying to protect their spot. Aren't we all? The Welcoming Committee end up winning that match. And like I said, it was fine. Everybody got their stuff in. So this next match on paper looks like at the very least a contender for match of the night. It is AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens. And for me, it definitely wins match of the night. Really great psychology throughout the match. There were small indications of a leg injury from AJ Styles that he was using throughout the match. Like, they were very subtle things that he was doing. And then after a spot where he... Okay, I just want to make note of this, because this spot was... AJ Styles had set up doing his finisher, Styles Clash, Kevin Owens, from the apron to the floor. And if it were other people, I would never believe they were actually going to go through with that. But considering it was Kevin Owens, I actually thought they would, because Kevin Owens is fucking insane and takes bumps that I do not understand how he takes those bumps. Like he took one in this match where like his spine was basically at, he took a suplex and spine was literally on the exact edge of the apron. Like, I mean, like, basically you could have folded him in half both off and on the apron. Like, essentially. And I'm like, how do you take these bumps on the edge of things? Why are you able to do this, Kevin Owens? How are you not, like, suffering tremendous amounts of back pain and having gone through multiple surgeries? But regardless, that spot happened, and they set up for the Styles Clash from the apron to the floor. AJ goes for like a few Styles Clash in this one, and Kevin Owens always counters it. So it's good. I think it's good that they're protecting the move, and I also think it's good that like they're sort of having Kevin Owens keep that scouted. And Kevin Owens drops down to counter it and responds by taking AJ's leg that he was selling very minorly, smashing it into the steel post, and from that point, like the story became AJ's leg being targeted. And at the end of the match, the ending of the match is definitely worth talking about, because the end of the match is they're on the outside again, and AJ is once again going for a Styles Clash. This time he's going for it on top of an announcer's table, otherwise known as a wrestler's worst enemy, I guess. You could call it a worst enemy, but most of the time the wrestlers win. But on top of the announcer's table. And Kevin Owens gets out of it. AJ's foot slips in a hole in the announcer's table, and he's stuck there. And when he gets his foot out, like trying to respond to the 10 count to avoid getting counted out, his like feet are caught in the wires that were underneath. And it's like he gets counted out, and Kevin Owens wins this match that I forgot to mention was for the United States Championship. I've done like 3 takes of this, and I still forgot it was to mention that it was for the United States Championship. But it was, and Kevin Owens won. And I think it's a good thing at the end of the day, because AJ losing in a way that can be perceived as just bad luck is, you know, really protecting him for being able to either continue the feud with Kevin Owens or move on to something either higher on the card or same place in the card. Basically keep AJ Styles a star. And Kevin Owens doesn't get buried by losing the title, losing his United States Championship very quickly, like multiple times in a row. And the US title doesn't get buried by changing hands 4 times in 2 months. So yeah, overall, very good booking on that end. And also creative booking. And like I said, definitely winner of match of the night. Next match is Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan. The backstory for this match is that these guys were members of the stable called the Wyatt family. Eric Rowan is still, like, Bray Wyatt got moved to Raw after WrestleMania. And Eric Rowan is still basically loyal to Bray Wyatt, even though he's not there. And Luke Harper had already sort of defected, and Eric Rowan don't like that. This is kind of a big man, big hoss match with 2 big dudes kind of colliding with each other. Normally, I don't like that type of match. That's just not my cup of tea. That being said, this was a good one. I'm willing to admit when one does pique my interest a bit more. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. I felt like it was a very good sort of, especially since this storyline didn't have a whole lot of interest from, you know, the audience, from the viewership, as it were. Basically, it wasn't the most engaging storyline going around, because I know it seems like it probably should have been, but it really wasn't. It really wasn't a storyline that was considered a big deal. It was more of kind of a mid-card storyline. I feel like this was sort of a match that was like put between 2 high-profile matches in order to let people sort of recover their energy and be excited for the next match that was about to come. And they definitely were. Oh, by the way, Luke Harper won. Last match of the night is for the WWE Championship. We have champion Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal. If you haven't been keeping up for the past 2 months, you'll be asking yourself, what the fuck? Why is Jinder Mahal in a world title match? Because Jinder Mahal, before April, had been losing every single match he had on television for the past 2 years. And then he won a single 6-pack challenge to become #1 contender for the WWE Championship. And after that, he kind of went on a winning streak. And it's like, hey, that's great. I don't have a problem with where Jinder is now. I don't have a problem with where Jinder is after Backlash. I don't have a problem with his position. The only problem with like his ascension to where he's at really comes at the beginning. I don't think they should have been like one match, boom, he's number one contender. Now he's suddenly a big deal. I think what it should have been was they should have had a tournament and him sort of progress through that tournament. And it's like people are not taking him seriously. And then suddenly he's number one contender by way of going through there and also using his managers, the Singh brothers. To describe what they've turned Jinder Mahal's gimmick into, there was a guy back during the mid-2000s called Muhammad Hassan. His gimmick is that he was Arab American, and he was tired of people being racist. Yeah, that's a gimmick. Muhammad Hassan was played by an Italian guy. That's a problem. Jinder Mahal, on the other hand, is billed as being from India, and his gimmick is that people don't like him because he's from India. Yeah, it's basically the same gimmick. Like, which is fine. I don't mind it, especially since Jinder Mahal, in Jinder Mahal's case, it's a lot more respectable than Muhammad Hassan, but I do feel the need to point out one thing about it. Jinder Mahal was not actually born in India. He was born in Canada, but he is of Arab descent. I don't know if it's actually Indian descent, per se. But I know it's at the very least of Arab. I know it's at the very least of Middle Eastern descent. I think it actually is Indian, though. So, good on WWE for getting someone who's actually the nationality they're talking about to play someone of the nationality they're talking about. I think that's a step in the right direction. I think that's a step in the right direction. And honestly, I would much rather have that than have something like Muhammad Hassan being played by an Italian guy. You know, just nah. Anyway, so this match had a good back and forth, and it had a pace that I tend to like. It went fast, then slow, then fast again, because I tend to like it to be high intensity at the beginning, high intensity at the end. If you're going to slow down, do it in the middle. That's what I like. That's my personal preference. It makes things a little bit more unpredictable, at least in my view. Granted, it makes it a little bit predictable because you know that the match is wrapping up, but you don't necessarily know where it's going to go. As quickly, at the very least. So let me just describe the ending. This match was really good. I thought this match was going to be pretty decent. It exceeded that expectation into really good. I'd say like the third best match of the night. So anyway, the way it ends is the Singh brothers kind of sort of get involved. They're helping Jinder Mahal not get pinned, basically. They're doing stuff like it doesn't cause a disqualification, but it's still basically cheating. And it's so Randy Orton ends up catching up to these guys, and what he ends up doing, he does this DDT where has the people's foot on the ropes, and he gets both of them in that and does a double one, and then Jinder Mahal catches him with his finisher. I can't remember the actual name of his finisher. I know it's like a Cobra Clutch Uranagi type of thing. I don't remember its actual name though, but he gets him with it and he wins the championship. So Jinder Mahal is your WWE champion in 2017. Go back in time to 2014 and tell somebody that happened. They will not believe you. So that was Backlash. I thought overall the show was pretty good. I wasn't expecting to be blown away by the show or anything, but it was definitely really good. Match of the night was Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles. I already said that. Weren't really any notable low points, I don't think. Everything was pretty much just everything was pretty decent. I think in terms of actual we're taking wrestling seriously low points, I would say the tag title match. That was definitely something that could be considered a low point. It was still very entertaining though, so I'm willing to give it that much credit. So, did you guys have a different opinion on this show? Please let me know in the comments what you thought. And again, if you liked what I had to say, then feel free to leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button and you'll know when I post something else. I don't always talk about wrestling, fair warning, but hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That way you know. So that'll be it for this time. I'll see you guys in fucking 2 weeks for Extreme Rules. Fucking 2 weeks? Really? 2 weeks. That's all we get. 2 weeks. I'm the Boonslayer, and I need a catchphrase. Bye.